For years, every time I heard somebody talk about the Proverbs 31 woman, I honestly thought she was this magical woman that none of us could ever become. Like she was this perfect woman who woke up at 4 a.m., had everything together, never struggled, never doubted herself, never got overwhelmed, and somehow managed to do absolutely everything perfectly. And even before I ever just sat down and actually read Proverbs 31 for myself, I had already decided that I could just never be her. But recently, I finally read Proverbs 31 with fresh eyes, and I realized that the Proverbs 31 woman isn't meant to make us feel inadequate. She's meant to show us what a woman rooted in her God-given worth looks like. And the crazy part is, I realized that in many ways, I'm already becoming her without even realizing it. So in today's conversation, I want to talk about what the Proverbs 31 woman actually teaches us about self-worth. Hey, I'm Koya, and over here we talk all things confidence and personal growth so we can become the women we were always meant to be. And if you've ever read Proverbs 31 and felt discouraged, intimidated, or like you could never measure up, then this video is definitely for you. I think one of the biggest lies women have been told is that our value comes from our appearance. We've been taught that if we're beautiful enough, thin enough, young enough, or attractive enough, then we'll finally feel worthy. But Proverbs 31:30 says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." So beauty fades, our bodies change, we age, life happens, motherhood happens. But according to scripture, the thing that gives a woman lasting value isn't her appearance, it's her character and her relationship with God. And I think that's so freeing because so many women spend their entire lives chasing worth through their appearance, always trying to lose the weight, fix the flaw, look like somebody else. But if your worth is built on appearance, your confidence will always feel unstable because appearance changes, but real self-worth has to be rooted in something deeper. And this next point honestly changed the way I look at myself. Proverbs 31:25 says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity." Notice what the verse doesn't say. It doesn't say she earned dignity. It doesn't say she became worthy after she accomplished enough. It doesn't say she finally had dignity after she proved herself. It simply says she is clothed with it. In other words, dignity is part of who she is. And I think so many women struggle with self-worth because we're constantly trying to earn something God has already given us. We think, when I lose the weight, then I'll be worthy. When I become successful, then I'll be worthy. When people approve of me, then I'll be worthy. When I'm a better mom, then I'll be worthy. But God has already given us dignity. Your worth is not something you earn. It's something you already possess because you were created by God. And this realization has changed so much for me because I spent so many years trying to prove my worth instead of just simply living from it. One thing I did notice while reading Proverbs 31 is that this woman was active. She wasn't shrinking herself. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't playing small. She was building. She was planning, creating, leading, serving, investing, working. Like this woman was taking action. And I think a low self-worth causes so many of us to shrink ourselves. We don't speak up. We don't pursue our dreams. We don't start the business. We don't post the videos. We don't use our gifts. All because we're afraid of judgment, afraid of failure, afraid of what people might think. But the Proverbs 31 woman reminds us that women who understand their worth don't spend their lives hiding. And I don't think confidence means never being afraid. I think it means moving forward even when you are afraid. Because confident women still get scared. They just don't let fear make all their decisions. This next point really stood out to me as a mom. The Proverbs 31 woman wasn't just one thing. She wasn't only a wife. She wasn't only a mother. She was also a businesswoman. She was also a manager, a creator, a leader, a steward, a woman with vision. And I think this is so important because many of us, especially moms, can unintentionally make motherhood our entire identity. Now, don't get me wrong. Motherhood is one of the greatest callings God can give us, but I don't believe it's our only identity. God gave us gifts. He gave us dreams, passions, and talents. And I don't think becoming a mom means that we have to stop being individuals. I think it means learning how to steward all of the roles that God has given us. For me personally, this has been something I'm still learning, because it's very easy, especially as a stay-at-home mom, to pour so much into everybody else that you forget that you're a person too. But reading Proverbs 31 reminded me that God never intended for women to lose themselves. Motherhood is one of our callings, not our entire identity. Now, Proverbs 31:25 says, she can laugh at the days to come. How many of us are anxious about the future, worried about the future, overthinking and afraid? But this woman wasn't controlled by fear. Why? Because her confidence wasn't rooted in people. It wasn't rooted in circumstances. It wasn't rooted in appearance. It was rooted in God. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons the Proverbs 31 woman teaches us about self-worth. When your identity is rooted in God, people don't get to decide your value. Social media doesn't get to decide your value. Your accomplishments don't get to decide your value. Other people's opinions don't get to decide. God does. And when you truly believe that, everything changes. So if you've always viewed the Proverbs 31 woman as this impossible standard that you'll never reach, well, I want to encourage you to look again. Because again, I don't think she was meant to make us feel inadequate. I think she was meant to inspire us. She wasn't perfect, but she was purposeful. And the same God who gave her wisdom, strength, dignity, and purpose offers those same things to us. And I wanted to remind you that you don't have to become somebody else. You simply have to continue becoming the woman that God created you to be. And honestly, you may already be becoming her without even realizing it. By the way, if you are tired of feeling like you're not enough, then I created a simple self-worth starter guide just for you. Check out the link in the description. If this video encouraged you, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with another woman who needs this reminder too. And I'll talk to y'all later.